Welcome to Coffee Talk. Amy Charlot's on vacation, so I'm taking over. We're here with a special guest, Michael-Jon Pease, who is the new executive director of the Saint Paul Parks Conservancy, the SPPC.
Yes.
And amongst your accolades of your career, we've got leader of the Saint Paul Rotary, Minnesota Citizens for the Arts, and Park Square Theater. So all those positions kind of prepared you for this job, didn't it?
It sure did. You know, I love a big arena and things that bring joy to people.
Right.
So yeah, which is why I love this store.
Oh, thank you.
Because it brings me joy, and it keeps me from taking away other people's joy by looking good.
Right. And so we're talking 2007. The city of St. Paul decides, hey, we need a way to raise money to enhance our park systems, right? Which is not unlike back starting in the early 1840s. We see the emergence of our first park systems happening, so that the citizens had a place, right? Yeah.
Parks are so vital, and it's no surprise that St. Paul and Minneapolis have among the top urban park systems in the country,
right?
Because of that foresight 150 some years ago.
Right. So if you did an aerial photograph of Minnesota, you'd see a lot of green.
You'd see a lot of green, and in St. Paul, you'd see just 15% of the city is parks, and that's not including all the green.
Huge.
It's huge.
15.
Yeah.
So you guys have raised over $2.5 million for projects.
Yep.
Right? 13 years. And I tell you what is interesting about this is your projects have included the Lilydale Park, the battlefields at Oxford and Jimmy Lee Park, and then Rice Park, is that currently under construction?
So the construction is complete. The last piece of it is a lighting element around the fountain that's going to be in place this summer.
Wonderful. And I tell you, what happened during COVID when the parks transitioned into encampments, and then how did you respond to that as a director? What was your take on that, and how did you give the parks back to its citizens? Not that it wasn't used by its citizens, because it was, but how did you transition out of that COVID encampment situation?
That's a really interesting, good question. I think the first thing we saw, and I'll get to the encampment piece, but the first thing we saw, right, is just huge use of parks, right? Because it was the only place to go.
Thank goodness.
For everything, right? And it really brought home to us that the parks are, for a lot of people, it's their everything. It's their art museum. It's where 200,000 kids got free hot meals this last year. It's where healthcare happens. It's where all this recreation and skill building and computer camps and theater camps all happen in parks. But to that point, we were lucky in St. Paul in that the majority of the encampment activity, even if it was on park land, was not like in a neighborhood park.
Right.
So we didn't have that sharp tension that there was in Minneapolis and other parts around the country. But the key thing was the parks and the Conservancy being as supportive as we can of our Parks Department to work with all of the actors in the space, right?
Sure.
State, city, county, to find housing solutions for people.
Right.
Because we did have some of our rec centers became shelters, day shelters and night shelters.
Good.
So it was good when that ended and we could play basketball there again.
Exactly. And so your main funding comes from private people.
Yep.
Citizens, and then corporate.
Yep, we have corporate sponsorships and corporate gifts, but mostly corporate foundations and then individuals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tell me what's the mission? What's the plan heading forward? And then tell me a little bit about what you got going on.
Sure. So as the Conservancy, we're really your catalyst for community vibrancy by making strong parks superb.
Right.
So we've got an award-winning park system, but I think where we really play the role and where we see the vision is that no matter your color of your skin or your income, you're within no more than a 10-minute walk from a truly great park that reflects you, your culture, and serves your needs.
Right.
So like one of our big projects was building the nation's first Katao courts for Southeast Asian kick volleyball. That's really important to huge parts of this community. And so I think that's where we get to help the city pivot and innovate, is what makes your park truly great for you.
Right, right.
You know? So that's the vision, and one of the ways we're raising money for it is this coming Wednesday, July 28th, the Party for the Parks, the newest fundraiser in town. And so you can, we've got Russell Klein from over at Meritage, sold out on high-end French picnic. Brian Ingram from the Gnome and Hope Breakfast Bar, sold out on just another gorgeous high-end chef-curated picnic. But we'll have Smoke and Bones food truck. You can bring your own picnic. I will be giving a personal prize to the best picnic spread of a self-catered picnic. So.
I understand. Are you getting an award? Did you know?
I think there's some rumblings of that. We're giving out some awards, but there may be an award for me. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody deserves an award, having made it past what we've just been through this past year, and then people are outside. Our parks were so important for our mental health during being cooped up, not going to work. So I thank you for that. And then also, just one more thing I wanted to ask you is, how can we contact, or how can we donate, or how can we be proactive getting involved in the SPPC?
Thank you for that. And whenever you add Saint Paul to the name of an organization, it makes your website really long. So we've tried to make ours short. So stpaulparks.org. So stpaulparks.org. Yep.
Wonderful. I tell you what, it's been wonderful having you. I hope you come back.
I will.
Now that you know what Coffee Talk is here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.